everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to the Dice Tower. Today I want to talk about 6 games I played so you don't have to. These are 6 games that I was not particularly fond of, and so I'm just going to talk about them and go over them here for you. Now, of course, with all these videos, you may feel very differently than me. Well, that's fine. Let people know in the comments. Perhaps you love these games and want to tell other people about them. So we're just going to jump into these games here. The first one that we're talking about here is Happy Camper, or this is actually Donald Duck in Happy Camper. This is from Maestro Media, and this is a remake of an older game called Goldland. This game originally designed by Wolfgang Kramer. This one is Wolfgang Kramer and Daryl Andrews working together. So on each turn of this game, you are going to be revealing tiles. You're going out exploring. You're the different nephews of Donald Duck in this game. And when you reveal a tile, Donald Duck moves there, and he has a special ability. And what you're doing is you're collecting resources and then building tents on the board, which cost resources. And then essentially trying to get to Lookout Point, which gets you some more points. Now, this doesn't sound very complicated at all, what I'm telling you. But unfortunately, I think the game is more complex than it needs to be. There's some interesting thoughts in the game, like the amount of equipment that you have, the amount of tokens you pick up. The empty space equals how far you can move. But what it does is it turns it into a very tight efficiency puzzle where you have to move outside the forest to pick things up, then move inside the forest, using equipment at the right time to get things. And I don't find it fun. I did not find the original game, Goldland, to be very fun either. But this one bothers me more than Goldland because this game looks like the kind of game you would go to Walmart to buy. And in fact, I think it's a little too esoteric. The game is not, even though the rules are a little complex, the game itself is not deep strategic. It's go back, grab stuff, go in, get it. I hope the tile I turn over is one. Donald Duck moved here. That kind of messed me up, or that helped me. And it just feels a little fiddly. There's also 2 different phases you can use equipment. And it just feels a little messy all around and not one that I'd recommend. So I'd give this one a 5 out of 10. Not a game I enjoy. Donald Duck in Happy Camper. I love the theme of it, though, but that's about it. Solar Titans is another game. I love the theme of this. Lead your capital ship to battle. So this is a deck-building game, a game in which you will be collecting cards to build a deck against your opponent. This game is designed by Philip G. and Jean Wu from Sunny Side Up Games. At the beginning of the game, you're going to get a ship layout card that you will, it shows you how to put out your starting cards, and you build a ship. You have defensive cards. You have cards that matter, like your ship engines, and then shield cards. And so what you're doing over the course of this game is you have these starter crew cards, and then, like I said, it's a deck-building game where you'll be playing these cards and then buying more cards. You can use cards for their money value to buy more parts of a ship and put them in, or to buy cards that allow you to do different things, and then you shoot at your opponent's ship. And this all sounds like a lot of fun. When you shoot, the shots will do different things. Some hit in the front, so you put shields in front of your more protective stuff, and you have to take out the command deck to win the game. It's essentially a 1v1 game, but there are rules for teams and mix-up matchups. The problem is this game definitely has a degenerative cycle in the sense that if you start getting beat up, it's really hard to come back from that. I get a good shot off on you and blow up your shields and stuff, and everyone has these 5 repair cards you can spend to fix things, but you start that downward slope, you really can't catch back up. And some cards are clearly better than others. I want the best guns. I want the best shields. And so once someone starts blasting away at your ship, you're like, oh, I'll start building things. You're just basically putting cards out to have them blown apart again. So I know a new edition of this has recently been crowdfunded. And maybe it fixes these problems. But I like the game. I don't think it looks particularly good on this cover. It looks okay. But the game itself looks fun. The idea of using cards to build a ship is really intriguing. It just missed the mark for me. I wanted to like it much more than it came to being. It just, once you start losing, you're like, well, why are we going to continue to play it? Because that's what the game says. And you kind of just play it out. 5.5 out of 10. Galaxy Postman was a game that I was very much looking forward to. It was one of my most looking forward to games from the Essen Spiel Fair last year, and for good reason. I mean, it looked neat, and I like the idea of a postman going around and picking up packages and aliens and taking them to different spots. And I have to say, that is what this game does. It's designed by David Remick and Kai Stark. Hodari Spiel is the company that makes it. And you have this console in front of you that you will be upgrading as the game goes by. You have dice that you'll be rolling, and then you will use those dice, placing them on spots to activate them. You can you have these free action spaces. These actions give you energy. They give you credits. They let you manipulate other dice. You can sometimes re-roll dice. They let you move around the board, pick up different color packages that need to go to different spots, pick up aliens, upgrading your shuttle, there's going to be wormholes out there. There's also asteroids, and when you fly through them, you get system errors, and if you get too many system errors, then you take damage to the ship. And so there's negative stuff, so you got to be careful about that. The problem with Galaxy Postman is on the box itself, I don't remember where exactly it says here, but it is 60 to 90 minutes. First of all, that is blatantly not true. It could conceivably get down to 90 minutes with maybe 3 players if you work really fast at it, but the game kind of stretches out, and unfortunately, there's lots of symbology all over this game. It plays at a sluggish pace. It plays so like, I have a die, and I put this die here, that lets me do this, and get some energy, now it's your turn. And we slowly move around the board. And unfortunately, since stuff kind of, when we find new areas, it pops up and reveals it. Oh, look, it's a blue package that needs to go there. How lucky for you that you got that. And it doesn't feel... It feels just a little random. Also, upgrading the tiles is really fun and cool, right? I can upgrade this, but figuring out where you can put your dice and then trying to mitigate the dice. There's a lot of cool concepts. It just overall, the whole thing feels like this burden to get through and to go through the galaxy, and just not a particularly fun time. So I did not really like Galaxy Postman. I give it a 5 out of 10. It sounds cool and interesting, but it just wasn't one that I enjoyed. Mycology is a game about mushrooms. Fungi has really taken off over the last few years in board gaming. People really want to know about mushrooms, and I get it. Mushrooms are delicious. This game is designed by James Scott from Bioprospectus Games. And I can tell you right out the gate, the reason Mycology is not very good is because they care so much about mushrooms and not so much about gameplay. There's a thin rule book in here. The game is not that complicated. And there's a thick rule book that tells you about all these different mushrooms. That's fantastic. What you do on your turn is you roll dice, but it's really weird. There's this thing that you roll, and everybody gets the resource that's rolled on the die. And then you can trade resources in for other resources. You're buying cards. You're paying things to get these resources. Some cards are poison mushrooms, which are neat because they're worth more points, but they give you -2 points unless you cover them up with another mushroom. I don't know what that means thematically. Like, well, that's poison. Quick, eat some more mushrooms. But it's a very beautiful game. It's just not fun. It's really not a very good game because you are rolling a die and waiting for this rare resource to come off. And everyone is getting kind of the same thing, and everybody is grabbing resources, and there's no real strategy. You're just hoping to roll them in there and hoping that good cards are available to be purchased when it's your turn and you have the right resources. It feels like the person who designed this game has played Catan and a few other games, and that's it. And then they went out and designed this. So they got the mushroom part right, but not the game part right. So unfortunately, Mycology for me is a 4 out of 10. I like the theme of it, but it's just not an excellent game. The Queen's New Capital is a gorgeous little game in some ways. Not the back of the box, and not some of the art on the cards, in my opinion. Rodrigo Esper is the designer of this from Esper Games. And in this game, there's 4 different scenarios you can play, sort of. It's 4 different victory conditions. And you need to collect points on 4 different tracks to reach these. And this is a deck building game, a game in which you are collecting cards and building a deck, but you are playing these cards. Each turn, you're going to draw 6 of these cards and play 4 of these cards. You start with basic cards. You'll improve them, get better cards as the game goes by. You're also building buildings, which you need to build level 1, 2, and 3, which incidentally is a problem with the game because I would really like level 3, and I haven't seen that building show up yet. And different people. There's also Crisis and Rebellion, so there's some odd things where you're playing cards all together. You're going to be revealing these cards. They kind of build off each other, and you want to get enough points collectively to beat the rebellion, and then whoever has the most wins or loses, and different things happen. And sometimes you working together. So there's a bit of semi-co-op in the game, which normally I have a big problem with semi-co-op games, but this one I don't find it to be particularly egregious. So why don't I like the game? It's because, one, it's so long. It really, you're slowly taking these turns, building up cards, and it doesn't feel like there's enough forward momentum. Yes, you can get cooler cards. Yes, you can build up buildings. Yes, you can do things. But there's these tracks for different factions, and the more control you have a faction, the better. And it feels almost random which ones you get because you don't have time to pick cards that match specific factions, and you're constantly having to play cards that work. You don't feel like there's any real strategy here. This feels like an undeveloped game. There's a lot of interesting ideas, and some of the main focus works well. And then there's a lot of mathiness, which I'm not a huge, antagonist towards math, but this constant playing the cards and then saying this card does this, and that one gives me that. Oh, and I have this over here in play. And it feels undeveloped. I don't know that it's necessarily a bad game. This one I'm giving a 5.5 out of 10. I don't want to play it again, but I kind of get where the game is going. They just need to shave off the time, shave down a little bit of all this extra stuff, and just play the game. It doesn't need 4 scenarios. It needs a game to play. It doesn't need all this extra stuff. And it feels like a Kickstarter game, right? Like, we threw in everything in the kitchen sink, and for me, that just doesn't work. That's the Queen's new capital. Lynx is a game from Play to Z. Test your trapping skills in the Ontario frontier. In this game, you are trapping both rabbits and lynx. It's designed by Bradley Davis, and in this game, well, it's basically a stock market game. It's not called that, but each round of the game, there's going to be a certain amount of lynxes and a certain amount of rabbits. And this is done through, I thought, a fairly convoluted method. Like, if there's this many lynxes or more, move this token up this far. And that depends on how many rabbits there are. And it just feels like this upkeep and bookkeeping you do from round to round. Everyone is going to be playing a card at the same time. Whether you want to trap lynxes, trap rabbits, or whatever else you might want to do. Play equipment cards, although they have this thing when you play a card, you pass it on. So you could just sit there and suddenly have all these cards to play. That felt really clunky. The card play just felt clunky. Unfortunately, the whole game feels clunky. It's a stock market game with the lynx trapping theme thrown on it. Now, first of all, I don't know who's like a big fan of this lynx trapping theme. It's not a particularly theme that a lot of people are like, yeah, I like trapping animals. But it also just isn't very interesting. Like, we all play cards, and I'm a big fan of everyone play a card and reveal them. But in this one person plays a different card, and they can shoot up and do so much better than everybody else. You also are playing like between 3 or 4 different cards, and it's like a rock, paper, scissors, but clearly it's better to play rock this turn. Clearly it's better to play scissors this turn. So I'll play scissors, or maybe I'll play rock, because I know everyone else is playing scissors. And that concept, which feels like it should be a good center staging point for a game, doesn't work particularly well in Lynx. So the artwork is fine, but the theme doesn't match the mechanisms. It's a stock market game where the stocks are like boom, 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 wildly like that. You're collecting things. You have these cards that kind of muddle up the game, and it just wasn't fun at all. It's a 4 out of 10 for me. There's nothing here really that I enjoyed. I kept trying it, saying, what am I missing? And, well, it's missing the fun of the game. This is one of those games that I'm almost surprised got published, because who was asking for this style game? If you like economic stock games, a lot of them exist. If you want to trap Lynx, if you like that theme, this doesn't really seem to match it. So, there you go. And that, folks, is 6 games. Now, like I said, I'm not a big fan of these games, but obviously people do enjoy them. Which one of these do you enjoy? Let us know in the comments. Or maybe you agree with me. Then let people know that too, because that doesn't hurt sometimes for people to say the same thing. But I like to have different opinions on games. That's the Dice Tower is formed on that. And these are 6 games that I don't enjoy, but maybe you do. Anyway, we'll be back with more stuff in the Dice Tower, talking about games we do like in the future, of course. Until next time, I'll see y'all. Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, you would love to game with us at one of our conventions. Check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Vasel.